Now, I have a person here who claims to be Mark Taylor-Canfield. Hey, Mark! Oh, it is you. Okay.
I just have to get off my speakerphone. No, I was just in the chat room talking about how Thom Hartmann had said on this program today that you're one of his heroes. I thought that was a pretty good compliment.
Oh, really? Well, he must have been too far into the, the sugared Cheerios or something. I don't know. That's nice that he said that.
It was a very thoughtful program today on Thom's show, so he was thinking kind of deep, and people brought up the lack of progressive voices in the media, and
right.
He was just saying, well, hey, Mike Malloy is still there, so...
See, I can't be thoughtful. I can't do thoughtful topics. That's why I'm glad Hartmann is on, is on the air and kicking ass and taking names, because he can do those kinds of topics and subjects, and Hartmann can actually take phone calls from real idiots and just twist them into pretzel-like shapes, whereas when I get an idiot on the phone, a right-winger, which is very seldom anymore, they have tended to stay away, I just scream and shout, and it makes them flee.
Well, we all have our own style, that's for sure.
That's very true, isn't it? But anyway, what you really called about is the anti-corruption movement in India?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you if you've heard of Anna Hazare. It's a really amazing story.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Of course I have.
You're one of the few. It doesn't seem like it's being reported in the United States at all. But that is an amazing movement. He's basically a Gandhian-style activist. Mm-hmm. Goes on hunger strikes and inspires hundreds of thousands of people. And they have been able to force the government to investigate some top-level officials there. And they're always fighting the corporate scandals in India. So, I know Americans are pretty apathetic when it comes to politics and don't seem to be able to get away from the Democrats or Republicans. But, I say Elizabeth Warren for president. And after listening to what she had to say today, it's amazing what happens and ask the real questions.
And the fact is that barring some divine intervention, probably the next president of the United States is going to be Hillary Clinton.
I have thoughts of kind of flashbacks to the campaign in the primaries against Clinton and Obama, just how nasty that was. I was in the trenches on that.
No, I went through the same thing, trust me.
There are plenty of other things that we could talk about because I'm always reporting news stories at Free Speech Radio. There's the state's publicly funded bank initiative headed up by Representative Bob Hasagawa, and he, by the way, would be an excellent guest. So I'm not sure if you've talked to him before, but...
Probably not. I very, very seldom do guests, Mark. I think the most frequent guest on this program is probably you.
I would recommend Bob only because he's not your normal political person. He was actually a labor leader and an activist, so he has a very open-minded attitude about politics, and I think he's got a good idea, which is what I guess North Dakota has had for many years, which is a publicly funded state bank.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's in your community.
All those people who always vote right-wing, why do they not accept the fact that they have right in their midst such a thing as the state-owned bank? They are dealing daily, if they're in business or whatever, with a socialist form of banking that I've been advocating for years.
Well, the idea, I guess, is it would keep the money off of Wall Street so that avoids the ups and downs of the crazy stock market and getting involved with those bailouts. And in Seattle, the city council actually voted unanimously to look into divesting the city's money from Wells Fargo, Bank of America, all these big banks. But unfortunately, without a state bank, there aren't enough small community and credit union banks to hold all of that money because we're talking millions and millions. So that is actually why we need a state publicly funded bank, because otherwise the small community banks just can't handle all that money.
We do not do business with banks. We do business with our credit union that both Kathy and I have been with literally decades before we ever met. Turned out we were doing business with the same credit union in the Atlanta area. We have to do business with a bank for the business account because credit unions, at least ours, they don't do business accounts. And I hate it because the one we have to deal with is Chase.
Well, to tell you the truth, Mike, I became famous or infamous, whichever way you want to look at it, for burning my Bank of America card during a protest in Seattle. That photograph went viral, and I ended up on the cover of the Washington Post and CBS News and all over the place. So I am definitely an advocate
for
of
burning your Bank of the old Bank of America card, right?
Right, and I invoked a protest in Vietnam where people were burning their draft cards. So I was saying, well, let's just burn our cards. I started doing it, and the next thing I know, by the time we were done, dozens and dozens of people had burned their cards, or they'd cut them up with scissors, and then that sort of spread around the country. So I think on that one day in February of last year, on Bank Divestment Day, millions were divested from the large banks and put into small community banks. And that's when Bank of America was getting in big trouble for charging their $5 a month fee just to have an ATM
Oh, yeah,
card.
I remember that, sure.
They had to back off that, by the way. They weren't able to do that. And I actually got a settlement from them, a small settlement, but because of their overdraft procedures. And I also may have a scoop for your program. Actually, it looks like there's been a lawsuit that's been filed against Facebook, and it looks like I'm going to qualify as a plaintiff because they've allegedly been posting people's photos and posts and using them without permission of the authors. Well, I just found out the other day it's a major class action lawsuit against Facebook. So there you go. That was great. I'll talk to you soon.
Right. Okay, thanks,
right.
Mark. Take care. Mark Taylor-Canfield. Yeah, Kathy's glad, too.